Hey everyone, this is PM Sport Talk, the father and son duo podcast. I'm your host Preston, alongside my father Mike and Dad. How are we doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Another great weekend of sports, an exciting Sunday of golf. I'm ready to get into it.
Let's go ahead and get right into it. We're gonna start off with in college football. Actually, the season is over, but this is where the off season begins. Friday it was announced that Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava was holding out due to wanting an NIL deal from the school, $4 million, and Tennessee said, no, we're going to move on from you.
Yeah, that's. I'm not surprised that that he did this, because it seems like that's what athletes are doing now. They're starting to become more and more like pro football than it is college.
This is what we wish never happened. This is why we love college football. Yeah. It was never about the money. It was just players going out and playing, proving themselves to scouts. All they lived football, and that was it. They didn't care about money. And now that the NILs are in play, even Nick Saban himself said that this is ruining the sport. That's one of the reasons why he retired.
Yeah, it's the school makes so much money off these guys. I mean, you want to see them get some money, but the way it's evolved is, now these guys, all they think about is the money, it seems like. And maybe it's not even, I don't even know if it's them as much as it is their agents, I mean, they've got, the problem is these are young guys. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old guys. They've got an agent in their ear telling them, hey, if you go here, you might get an extra $2 million this year, or blah, blah, blah. Yep. And what's an 18 or 19-year-old going to do? There's a good chance they might do that. Or they're going to be like, hey, if we threaten to go, maybe they'll up it here. You won't have to leave, but you can get more money here. Play that game back and forth. And if they don't want to pay it, then go somewhere else. And like you said, it's ruining it. This is the first really notable case in college football.
I think it's the beginning, though. It's definitely not the last one. We'll see.
And, the one thing that I liked about, they're both doing it, college football and college basketball, but at least in college football, the players had to stay for 3 years. And so most of the time, they were staying in that one school. But now with him going, like we've seen with college basketball, where they jump from school to school to school year after year after year. They only stay 1 year and then they're gone. So you don't know who to root for. The teams are totally different. The whole roster changes from year to year. At least in college football, you'd have a couple guys go, but that was it. But now he's the really first notable guy, quarterback, to just up and leave. And
I'm actually kind of curious, because I wouldn't say for sure this is going to start a trend. It might, but at the same time, these players who are kind of looking at what happened here with the NIL holdout, they might go ahead and look at how Tennessee reacted to it. Like, hey, if you're going to ask for money from us and not commit to this program, think you're above the program, we're just going to ask you to go. We're just going to move on from you. We're not going to give you a second chance.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's hard to say how soon. I mean, the NIL, I don't know if it's this year or next year, but it's going to change a little bit because schools are going to be allotted so much money. It's not going to just be like, it wasn't just schools, it was boosters and all that. Now I think they're talking about getting some rules, maybe some contracts, so they won't be so easy for these guys to just jump. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how long that's going to take. Who knows? That could take 3 or 4 years for them to get it worked. I have no idea. But in the meantime, college basketball has totally been ruined by it. And now college football, this is, like we said, the first one. And I applaud Tennessee. It's not like they weren't offering. He had a $2 million deal. I mean, it's not like they were offering him peanuts. And it wasn't enough for him and his agent. So now he's off. He's probably going to end up at USC, I heard. USC, maybe UCLA, because he's a Southern California kid, I guess. And, those schools could use a quarterback. So there's a good chance he's going to end up out there. But I hope more schools take the approach of Tennessee. We'll have to wait and see.
And something that isn't mentioned enough from this, I think this will. I don't know if NFL scouts will take this to account, but maybe some teams will definitely be removing him from the scout board whenever he enters the draft, which is most likely not this year, but next year.
Yeah, unless he's super, like, number 1, number 2 drafted quarterback.
Like that's something I would expect that if anybody were to do it, guys like Carter, Abdul Carter, guys like Cam Ward or Shador Sanders, but this guy doing it, I don't know. He was decent, but I don't think he's good enough to the level where he's like, I'm gonna storm in here and ask for $4 million, even though I already got $2 million. How greedy does that sound?
Yeah.
Especially from a college kid.
Yeah, it's not like he was setting the world on fire there. He's got a lot of potential, but he hasn't been that impressive to me. He's got a big arm, but he only threw for 19 touchdowns last year. It's not like he was like Joe Burrow, who threw for 40 some touchdowns his final year,
Right.
Was this his second year or his first year? I'm not positive. Second, right?
Probably.
Or no, they had Milton the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this might have been his second year, but first year starting. I'm not sure, but anyway, like you said, I mean, but Cam Ward, he was at Washington State for 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
The only reason he went to Miami was because he was, isn't it like he was a fifth-year senior or whatever? I think so. For Ohio State,
Will
Howard, all these guys in their fifth year. I don't know if it's because they can only be at one school for 4 years or something. I don't know how that worked, but that fifth year they would be on a different school. They're called graduates.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. So I don't know how that. It has to do with eligibility and stuff.
Right.
But this is totally different. I mean, he just left because money. Those guys didn't leave because of money.
Yeah.
Those guys left because they kind of had to.
Most guys who enter the portal, most of them in the football specifically, I don't think they do it specifically towards. Most of them need a change of scenery. Yeah, you usually see a bunch of players from one school enter the portal after a coach retires or something because they really grew a bond with that coach.
Yeah, or a new coach coming in is going to totally recruit different players and all this.
Exactly.
But yeah, like you said, you see it in college basketball where they all change, but not, like I said, not in football. Football is a little different than college basketball. You got to kind of develop. I mean, it's a different sport. It's a physicality sport, and usually you'll see them stay with that one school, and then maybe their last year, like I said, it's with a graduate thing. But yeah, I just hope this is not the beginning, because I don't want it to be like college basketball where 1 year, let's say Arch Manning would be a good example. Let's say 1 year he was on Texas, then the next year he goes to Tennessee, and then his third year he goes to Mississippi. I don't want to see that. He's not going to do that, obviously, but because he's already,
For an example, yeah.
But as an example, that's what they're doing in college basketball.
Right.
And it's like, well, you don't know what team to root for. You don't know where your players are. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, basketball transfers are insane. You probably know him very well, AJ Storr.
Yes.
Kansas guard this year, entered the portal again. He has played 8 years, and he only spent 1 year at each school he played at. That's including high school, by the way.
That's high school, yeah. He's only been on 3 college teams, but it's a different one each year, though.
Yep.
He started out with St. John's, went to Wisconsin,
went to Kansas,
and now he's back in the portal.
Right.
And
that's gonna be team number 8.
He's an okay player, but he's not. That's all he is.
That's just an example. I mean, that's definitely not the only one. But yeah, I think the transfer portal NIL is just it's a big disaster.
They gotta do something They gotta make it so that these kids have to stay out of school for at least 2 years or something.
Back when you were growing up watching sports, they correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they say the player couldn't play if he transferred after 1 year?
Yeah, it used to be the way it was. They had to sit out a year. But now they decided that, that wasn't fair because the coaches could just leave and go to another college, and they didn't get penalized. So how could you penalize the kids? And
That makes sense, but at the same time, you gotta find something to neutralize how much times a kid can transfer. Either put a limit on it or put a limit on how they can stay at the school.
I think they should only be able to transfer one time, or like I said, or only every 2 years, which would be only one time.
Yeah.
You got to stay there at least 2 years, unless you're going to declare for the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, that's different, but you can't play on four or five different schools in 5 years.
Right. That's just transfer portal alone. You definitely should have a limit on that. But yeah, I feel like they should keep the declaration of the NBA separate, which they probably would. But yeah, transfer portal NIL, man, what a topic that's become in today's world.
It's crazy.
Let's move on to a very exciting weekend of golf. It is the Masters, and Rory McIlroy has finally did it. He has won his first green jacket.
What a day yesterday was. If you're a golf fan, that was like one of the most entertaining final rounds of golf you'll ever see. I think it's the most entertaining one I've ever seen. I've been watching golf for years now, and it was just awesome. And if you know Rory McIlroy, it's very fitting to him, because this is what he does. He's probably the most talented golfer in the world right now. Has been for a while. He was picked to be the heir apparent to Tiger Woods. He was going to be the next. I don't think anybody expected him to be as good as Tiger, but he was supposed to be right there. And he started out House of Fire, came on the tour, won 4 majors in his first couple of years, 3 years, and then it just all fell. He fell apart at the Masters. He had a bad round there. He was leading the tournament. This is like 14 years ago, 2011. It all fell apart. He ended up finishing like 15th or something. And it's just been that way ever since at the Masters. He could not win at the Masters. He finished for second. He finished at 5th. He finished top 10. He just would never, ever be able, he just couldn't do it. And it's been his MO he hasn't won a major either, other majors in 10 years or so. He's been one of those guys that whatever he would be leading, and that final round, the nerves would just get to him. And yesterday, same thing. He's leading by 2. First hole, he loses the lead in the first hole. First 2 holes, DeChambeau takes the lead. And then, third hole, he hits these miraculous shots again, and all of a sudden he's back in the lead. And it went back and forth like that pretty much the whole day, where he would be ahead by 3. Then he'd lose it and be down by 1. Then he'd make these great shots and he'd be ahead by 2. And then it looked like he was going to win it in regulation on the 18th hole. And he bogeys the 18th hole. He had like a 4-foot putt. And he missed in typical Rory fashion. And I thought there's no way he's going to win the playoff hole. Absolutely no way is he coming back from that. Justin Rose hits a drive down the 18th hole, right down there. Rory gets up there. You're like, well, what's he going to do here? He hits the drive of his life right down the center. Second shot, Justin Rose hits it, bounces right over the hole, ends up about 8-10 feet away. And you're like, oh, what's Rory going to do here? He hits a shot within 3 feet of the hole. And you're like, he's finally going to do it. And he did. He hits the birdie. Justin Rose missed his birdie putt. Rory hits it, and man, unbelievable.
A lot of people thought this would be a Rory versus DeChambeau matchup coming into Sunday, but man, got to be impressed with the show Justin Rose put on.
He for the first half of the day yesterday, you didn't hear about Justin Rose. He was like way back. Then all of a sudden, he starts making his move. And, Rory, goes from 14 under down to 10, and Justin Rose takes the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rory ties it, takes the lead back, and then they end up tied. And like I just said, and unbelievable drama. It was, I mean, for people out there that think golf is boring, if you watch that final round yesterday, that was nothing. That was just spectacular. There's so much pressure. It's like playoff baseball, where every pitch, you're biting your fingernails. Every pitch, there's pressure. And that's how that final round was yesterday. And typical Rory fashion, you think he's won the tournament, then you thought he lost the tournament. Then you thought he won it again, then you thought he lost it again.
That's the way it is every year.
And
Rory must have found something, because he made it work this time and he won the whole thing.
And it kept killing me yesterday. I think it was on the 15th hole, he made a great shot and he got the lead back. And after he had squandered it, and they're like, he got back up by 2. And here goes the CBS commentators talking about basically saying that he's just won the tournament there. And they're talking about how his legacy and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's 4 more holes to go. 3 more holes to go. You guys are talking about how he won the tournament. This is Rory McIlroy. He hasn't won anything yet. Sure enough, he does what he does. And, chokes it away, you thought, but ends up winning in the playoff hole. But I'm like, they kept saying that. And on the 17th hole, he did the same thing. He's like, oh, Rory he's back up by 1. Well, then on the 18th hole, Justin Rose birdies the 18th hole, so now he's tied. And I'm like, why are you guys saying this stuff? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And
oh, man.
These announcers, they got way ahead of themselves. They almost made themselves look really stupid because he almost lost it. And but great for him, great for golf. Like I said, he's the most talented player out there.
I don't think anyone deserved it more than him this year.
Yeah, he's been playing good. He just won. He's already won a couple tournaments already this year. So, and I think the monkey's off his back now. There's no more pressure on him. He's won all of them. He's one of the greatest ever. Don't be surprised if he goes on a little bit of a tear and wins a few more if he wants. I mean, if he's motivated, I wouldn't be shocked if he won 3 more of those. So, but what a day! I mean,
it was, Masters is always exciting every year. So
I love watching the Masters. It's the first big golf tournament, and that place is just immaculate. And it is golf.
It's legendary course.
It's legendary. It's golf, and if you love golf, nothing better.
Well, with that being said, we move on from golf and we move on to the NBA, where we are starting
playoff time,
and I think this will be the first time I regularly watch NBA.
I gotta be honest with you. I've watched a few Lakers games and a few Celtics games this year, but just to see Luka, how that whole thing is going, and I really didn't watch that many Celtics games because they're pretty much locked in second place for about 3 months now, and I really wasn't going to watch them till playoffs because that's what matters, right?
Right.
I just think they were just on cruise control all season anyway. So,
well, let's take a look here. We got some play-in tournaments to go over, and then we'll look at our playoff matchups because I think that is finalized now. Play-in start tomorrow at Tuesday. And let's see here. Well, we got our playoff matchups that are set. We'll go over those right now. How about Bucks and Pacers first round?
This is a tough one for me because the Bucks always choke. They're the ultimate chokers.
Yeah, but this year, they're the underdogs. The Pacers are the higher seed.
Oh, that's right. So maybe this works in their favor. Like you said, they've been a 1 or 2 seed the last, how many years now?
Jeez.
5 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And, maybe this is the year where they kind of sneak up on us. And
I think Damian Lillard, he was out with blood clots, but I think he's all set to go in this game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Pacers are the most overrated team in the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton is just not that good, in my opinion. He can play.
He'll have these
He's
games here
too
and there where
inconsistent.
he's inconsistent. Yeah.
He is way too inconsistent for my liking.
I really don't know how to gauge this series, though. I mean,
Yeah, you look at it. If you look at the matchups, kind of. So Giannis will have to deal with Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner in the front court. So Siakam, don't underestimate him. He's known for being a very good defender.
I wouldn't. Are these still best of fives?
7. All of them are
There
7.
are sevens now. Okay. That's the baseball. It's fives. These used to be fives in the first round. I wish they were in the NBA because I think the first round goes on forever.
It does.
But anyway, because they don't play. What, they take like 3 days off in between.
Right.
God, I can't stand that. Drives me nuts. NHL, they play every other night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a way more grueling sport than basketball. Basketball is, don't get me wrong, it's grueling in the playoffs. But how come these NHL guys can go every other day, but the NBA, they have to have 3 days off in between? It's their version of load management in the playoffs, but it's not their fault. It's the way it's TV schedules and the way the NBA sets it up.
Jeez.
I can't blame it on the player this time, but it drives me insane. You just watch it. You watch this game, and you're ready to watch it. Oh, okay, I'll be back on in 2 nights. Nope. You got to wait. Sometimes they play on Tuesday. They don't play again until Saturday. I'm like, how can you get any rhythm as a player doing that?
Jeez, I didn't know I had a sit-down interview with PK Subban today.
Well, no, it drives me nuts. It's hard to get into it. That's why I love the.
No, yeah, but all jokes aside, you're right.
I know
the NHL is so grueling. You're literally playing football on skates, and these guys' playoffs are scheduled every other day. I think I'll say it this way: no one should be debating on what is the tougher sport physicality-wise. It's hockey, and I don't think it's close
I just
at
don't.
all.
Yeah, I just don't understand it. I mean, to me, they do it for TV, but to me, I would think it almost hurts TV because don't you want to get in a rhythm watching a series? Because you forget about it. It's like,
Right.
When's that coming back on? Oh, I don't know.
You gotta check like every other day. It's
Oh, we're playing game 2 in 3 days. Oh, okay. But
right,
I could see them if they want to do that in between on the travel days
right.
when they play the first 2 and then switch. Okay, if you have 3 days off, it's not the end of the world. But they do it after game 1 sometimes. It's like, why are you doing it then? That is so stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really like the way NBA has ran things, but I feel like that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, I know. We want to get back in the matchups,
No,
but
I totally agree with where you're coming from, though. That's a valid argument. But let's take a look back at the first match we're looking at, Bucks and Pacers.
I guess I go with the Bucks,
The
but
Pacers are the higher seed, but I think the Bucks win this series.
I'll say like 6 games maybe.
It's a 4 versus a 5, so not horribly outmatched. But yeah, I got the Bucks in this one. And then we got another game 1, Clippers and Nuggets.
That one, that's a tough one. The Clippers are actually playing good
I think
Kawhi is actually healthy.
Don't count out these Clippers, man. I won't go as far as to say they're gonna beat the Denver Nuggets in a 7-game series. I'm gonna go as far as to say don't be surprised if these Clippers take the Nuggets to a game 7.
Yeah, I think you're right. Could be long, but they probably gonna lose.
I think this series goes 6 or 7, but in the Nuggets' favor.
I just don't know if they can handle Jokic for a 7-game series.
Yeah. They got Zubac. He's good. I'd say a top 10 center in this league, but man, I don't know a single center in the world that can stop Nikola Jokic right now.
The Nuggets those players, their coach just got fired. They had a big From what
That
I've
is a big point. That is a
from
good
what
point.
I've heard, that they're the big reason why he got fired, because just wasn't. They kind of were sick of him, from what I'm hearing, and they might have something to prove. Be like, hey, yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
you are right about that, I think, because I did see something with Nikola Jokic. Something got released that they told Jokic that they fired Malone, and he was like, okay. Like, I know Jokic just says okay, that's all right to a bunch of things, but when your coach gets fired and he's reacting like that, that says something.
yeah. It sounds like they kind of had run the course with Mike Malone, and it was time for a change. Weird time for a change, but
Yeah, Malone won a finals, so I'm not sure. But yeah. Anyways, I think the Nuggets win this one in 6.
yeah, I agree.
If it goes to 7, they win in 7, but one of those two. Another tricky one, believe it or not, the Pistons and the Knicks.
Yeah, this could be like one of those grinded out series.
This one is going to 7. I'd be surprised if it doesn't go to 7, I'll say.
The Knicks, I don't know. They should win this series, but Pistons first time in the playoffs, all these young players. I gotta say, Knicks. I wouldn't be shocked if the Knicks won it in 5, and I also wouldn't be shocked if it went 7. I'm just not quite sure how those young players for Detroit are going to respond.
I'm gonna take the Pistons in this series.
Yeah,
I don't know. The Knicks, they got the good team on paper, but there's games where they can be really sloppy, and there's games where they can be really good.
yeah, they're very inconsistent.
And the Pistons, this is a team that you got to be consistent against. They are. I'm not gonna say they're the bad boy Pistons, but they got that mentality.
Right.
They play really good defense, and they're very good trash talkers, and they're gonna play physical. So
Yeah,
and the Knicks, it's just gonna depend on how they respond to the physicality the Pistons play.
yeah, it's very interesting series. This is one of the series that really intrigues me. I want to watch this. Bucks Pacers, I could care less.
Right.
Clippers Nuggets, all right. Pistons Knicks, this really intrigues me.
And wasn't this like a big rivalry back in the day as well?
Yeah, used to be.
With like Ewing and
Ewing and Allen Houston and Grant Hill was on the Pistons, and yeah.
this should be a good one. Another great series, Timberwolves and Lakers.
I see this as Lakers in 5 or 6.
Actually?
I do. Timberwolves have not impressed me this year.
That's fair.
I just think as long as LeBron is healthy, and which it's playoff time, he's good to go. But I think Lakers 6.
Lakers in 6. Yeah. I don't. Timberwolves always play better in the playoffs.
I'm just not a big believer in Ant-Man. I think he's so overrated.
Yeah. I could see why you say that. Yeah, he is a little bit overrated. But he's still a very good player.
Yeah, he is, but he's like, I don't know.
And this Timberwolves team, that's another team, believe it or not, that plays really good defense. You got a 2-time Defense Player of the Year, Gobert, on the team, and you got Jaden McDaniels, who has risen to be one of the best perimeter defenders in the league.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they surprised me. Maybe with their defense.
I'm with you. I think the Lakers win, but to say confidently that this will be a 5-game series, I think is outrageous. But I guess we'll have to see. I just think the Timberwolves will at least give them a little bit of a fight. To see who's playing in these games, we have to scroll up to the play-in games, which we will be starting tomorrow. Starting at 7:30, you got the Hawks and the Magic. The winner of that game will get the 7 seed and take on the Boston Celtics.
I don't know who's going to win this, but whoever wins it is losing in 4 or 5 to the Celtics.
I completely agree. I think I'll take the Magic.
Yeah.
I like them.
The perennial Atlanta Hawks playing game.
I don't think it's gonna matter either way. But I say if the Magic win that game, you'll see a little bit of like better games in the
Yes.
series.
I do. I agree with you.
Because the Hawks, I don't know, they're not that good. They're overrated. And then at 10 p.m., a really good matchup here.
Yes, very good.
Let me tell you this: Grizzlies and Warriors. If whoever wins this will get the 7 seed, and whoever loses it is winning whoever wins Mavericks Kings. Mavericks.
Yes. Both these two teams are probably going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, so I say I got the Warriors winning against the Grizzlies, but like I said,
I agree.
the only thing that's going to matter in this game is seeding. I'd say
the winner of this game, especially if it's the Warriors, maybe I should say, I got the Warriors winning this game. Then they're going to play Houston, and they're going to beat Houston.
Yeah.
So they're going to be the 7 seed, but they're going to beat the 2 seed. And because the 2 seed Houston's kind of, yes, I don't want to say they're frauds, but
they're young.
They're young, and those if it's the Warriors, I don't know about the Grizzlies.
If it's the Warriors, I can confidently say they're winning.
They're winning that series.
But the Grizzlies, that might be close.
Yeah.
And then if the Grizzlies win, they will take on or lose and win the next one. They'll take on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, and that'd be interesting, but they won't beat Oklahoma City.
I think, yeah.
I could see it going 6 maybe, but
yeah. And then the other Eastern Conference matchup is Heat and Bulls. Remember, these two matchups, Heat and Bulls and Mavs Kings, these will only determine who will play the loser of the 7 versus 8. So, I don't know. I guess I got the Bulls beating the Heat.
The Heat are bad.
Yeah, I got the Bulls beating the Heat and the Magic then beating the Bulls. And then in the other side, I got the Warriors beating the Grizzlies and the Grizzlies beating. I don't really care. I think the Kings are going to win. The Mavericks are a complete mess.
Yeah, I would say Kings and then Grizzly beats them.
Yeah.
So
there you go. There's your matchup. So, and then whoever wins the matchup between the Bulls and Hawks, believe it or not, I'm going to take the Bulls in that game. I say the Bulls go on to the playoffs and get smoked by the Cavs.
Yeah, in the Eastern Conference, those play-in teams have no shot.
Yeah,
they're gonna get killed when they play. In
the Western is where it gets interesting. I actually kind of like the play-ins. So, yeah, and then we go down. I think the Warriors beat the Rockets, and I think that's a 6-game series in my opinion. And then the Thunder, I'll say they beat the Grizzlies in 6 as well.
Yeah, I can see that. I really like the Warriors beating
and I think
Houston.
Whoever the Warriors would play, they would play probably the highest seed remaining.
So they'd probably play OKC.
That would be a good series as well. And I'd go as far as to say I think the Warriors could win that series.
You're probably looking, that'd be the one semifinal in the West, and the other semifinal is probably going to be the Lakers and Nuggets again.
Wow.
And
that could be a really good semifinal.
Is this the year that the Lakers finally beat the Nuggets in the playoffs? If they don't this year, then I don't think they're ever going to. So
yeah, because LeBron might retire after this year. We don't know that for sure, though. But yeah, I think these playoffs could shape out to be really good.
Yeah. One thing with the NBA is the usually the series get better as it goes along.
Right.
Sometimes in the NHL, the best series are in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little difference. That's why I love the first round of the NHL, which will be happening next week.
You want to take a look at the NHL playoffs? Is there a playoff picture? Or is that not finalized yet?
It's not finalized. There's still the East is all but one team.
So we could probably, and then what about the West?
The West, there's still
a lot that could happen.
3 or 4 teams that could make it.
Okay.
So they still have a whole week to go.
Okay. Let's go with who do you like heading into the playoffs?
That's really tough this year.
It's really weird. I mean, you got teams like the Bruins who you feel like it's inevitable for them to miss the playoffs.
This is the first time ever that the originals, the NHL started out with original 6 teams.
Right.
First time ever that the original 6 teams were 2 teams in Canada, and 4 teams in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It was Detroit, Chicago, Boston,
Montreal,
and the Rangers in U.S.
Yeah.
And it was Montreal and Toronto.
Toronto.
Was it Toronto?
I would
Yeah,
think,
Montreal and Toronto in Canada.
Right.
And this is the first time ever. I mean, how long has this league been going? A long time. Ever that all 4 teams, original 6 teams all 4 U.S. original 6 teams are not in the playoffs ever. First time that's happened that at least one of them wasn't in the playoffs.
Right.
Those are big markets too. Chicago, New York, Boston, and Detroit.
None of them made it.
Those are all big time hockey towns, and none of them made it. And
Wow.
so it's different.
That's shocking.
One good thing this year, though, for the NHL is it looks like Montreal is going to make it, and they haven't been in it in a long time. And I hate Montreal because they were the biggest rival to Boston as I was growing up as a kid.
Right.
But the playoffs are much better when they're in it. It's kind of like Yankees. Playoffs are better when the Yankees are in it.
Right.
Playoffs are better when Montreal's in it in hockey, in my opinion.
Do you see these playoffs when it's finalized as being unpredictable?
Very. I have no idea. You have Washington that finished, I think, top in the East, but I don't know if they're the best team.
That's fair to say.
Toronto's the second place team, but they always choke in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So is this a year where they finally do it?
I don't know if you can trust Toronto, man.
I don't either. It's wide open.
I like it. That's very good.
And
actually.
the Panthers, they're like 4th or 5th in the East.
Yeah. Marchand's on the Panthers now.
So are they, just getting ready for the playoffs, or are they not as good this year? I don't know.
Right.
It's wide open. Out west, you got
is Edmonton making it?
Edmonton's making it. They're going to be like they're like they're third in division, so they'll play that 2-3 matchup, and the top team out there I think is Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
No, Winnipeg. Actually, Winnipeg's the top
right,
team.
yeah, Winnipeg is good this year.
But they notoriously choke in the playoffs too. So
right. Yeah.
Winnipeg and Toronto are 2 very interesting teams that usually choke in the playoffs that are like really like high in the standings this year. So interesting. This NHL is wide open. It usually is wide open.
I can say this confidently with Toronto. They are definitely a team you have to see
win.
Do something to believe it.
They're like Rory McIlroy. You have to actually see them do it. All sorts of talent, but you got to see them do it.
Right. You got to put that together.
Maybe this is the year they finally do it.
Yeah, that would be great. If they can finally make it a little interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait. I love the NHL, the first round of the NHL.
Playoff hockey is the best hockey.
I believe that starts. The regular season finishes up this weekend, I think, or maybe this week.
Okay.
So I don't know if the playoffs start this weekend or if they don't start till next week, but it'd be great. You're gonna have NBA one night, and you're gonna have NBA, NHL. It's gonna be great. So,
well, moving on here, our last topic for plays of the week. We are 10 days away from the NFL draft.
hard to believe, huh?
Man, and there's a couple questions we can go over to make some takes on. First of all, obviously, what do you think the Tennessee Titans do? Do they draft Abdul Carter? Do they go as far as to draft Hunter? Do they draft Cam Ward? Or do they trade the pick?
I believe they're taking Cam Ward because they don't have a quarterback on their roster.
I think they would be pretty dumb not to take.
They're taking
Ward.
Cam Ward. I'd be absolutely shocked if they don't take Cam Ward.
Right.
So I think that a few months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, we were like, yeah, they might trade the pick. But then they didn't sign anybody as quarterback. They didn't pick up anybody.
So I think they're all set on Ward.
I don't even know who's on their roster for a quarterback, but
they just cut Rudolph as well, so
yeah,
might be making room for him.
Yeah. So
and then man, This draft is pretty interesting. Two running backs at least are projected to go in the first round. You got Ashton Genty, and then you got Omarion Hampton from North Carolina.
That's strange. That you have two. I'm really curious to see where they go because,
I'd go as, let's see, Genty. Obviously, you're gonna have him in the first round. One of the best running back seasons in college football history, and he was the second place Heisman. Should have been first, but that's a topic for a different day. But and then you got Omarion Hampton, who, if you actually watch his, I know he played in the ACC and North Carolina's so-so, but if you watch him alone, he is a great running back.
his father was great for the Giants too. It's amazing that he's that good too. Yeah, I've heard talks of Pittsburgh maybe not in the first round if he dropped out of the first round, but he probably won't be there because they don't have a second round pick this year, so that's probably not going to work out.
Unless if they somehow trade.
But
Yeah.
I don't see them trading to get a running back.
That's another thing. What are the Steelers gonna do? I mean,
Is Rodgers going to be the quarterback or not?
I just want an answer, man.
I don't want him to be, but
Here's if the Steelers don't negotiate a deal with Rodgers by the start of this first round, they got to move to a different plan.
they keep saying they're fine with Rudolph starting this year, and
I think that would probably be the correct move.
I think they should go with him. And
Rodgers, he thinks he's so good still, and he's not. He's 41. He doesn't have that Packer play that he used to have,
his whole game was mobility.
and he can't move
Dude
at all
can't
anymore.
move anymore.
So I think that would be a pretty stupid signing anyway.
Plus, he's going to cost a lot of money too.
Right,
Why?
yeah.
Why
I don't-
sign that guy?
I just don't. I think that will ruin a lot of chemistry with the team too. It would just be a disaster. I think you go with Rudolph, a guy who's familiar with the system, a guy who stepped up and got you to the playoffs a couple years ago. I'm not saying he's gonna be this great quarterback for us this year. He could be, but I'm not gonna go as far as to say he'll be a superstar. But that is looking like your best option so far, and maybe draft a rookie. I heard talks about Kyle McCord in like later rounds.
McCord or Jackson Dart. I've heard
Shador Sanders.
people say, what do the Steelers do if he happens to fall to them? Do they take him? Would you? I don't.
I don't know. I think he can play. It's that ego. Does Tomlin think he can control another ego in his locker room? Because especially right out of college too.
That's tough.
I'm gonna.
But it's starting. The one thing that throws a monkey wrench into that maybe happening is the Derek Carr injury this week. You've heard about that, right?
Right.
There's talk now that the Saints, who have the 9th draft pick,
They'll probably take.
they
Sanders.
might take Sanders if nobody takes him. So
Jeez, that's interesting because the Browns, they signed Flacco and Pickett, so I guess they're not going quarterback this year. Maybe they will, but I don't know. They're weird.
they still have Watson too. I mean,
Yeah,
he's still on the roster. So
They-
what are they doing?
they
I have
ca-
no idea what they're doing.
I feel like before they get someone, they have to wait. They just have to deal with it. They made that stupid contract fully guaranteed. There's not much you can do now. You just have to wait. What does he have? 2 more years left? 1?
1 or 2, but the owner just came out the other day and said, or I don't know, the other day, a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, and said how that was looking back, how that was a bad contract. So what are they saying? Are they saying that they don't want him to play, or
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there.
But yeah,
That's really weird.
yeah. Watson did come out himself either this week or last week and said that he's gonna prove people wrong this year. Yeah, dude. With all due respect, I don't have to see that to believe that.
I mean,
I respect.
I guess he's gonna be on
respect
the-
it though. I respect that he still has confidence, no matter what people are saying.
Here's how I think it's going to go. He's always nope. They can't do anything with him. So unless he does something really stupid and they just cut him or, just don't play
He
him.
might have a prove it year.
He's going to come into training camp, Pickett and Flacco, and whoever plays the best is going to start. Or if they let Watson start, he's going to have a really short leash.
Mm-hmm.
You got two games to prove it, dude.
Here's what I'll say. Watson can come out and make that statement that he wants to prove people wrong this year. He has so much confidence in that statement, but if you watch him on the field, it looks like he just doesn't believe in his own self. If you remember last year, there was probably more than one time, but one specific time, Stefanski wanted to keep the offense out on 4th down, and Watson just walked out on the field.
I know.
And
it's like
Stefanski was like, "Are you kidding me?" So
that's really
this guy, if he's gonna start, like you said, shoot, I don't even know if I would give him 2 games. It's a weird situation in Cleveland. I'll say that.
Very weird. That whole organization just runs so. Stefanski's a good coach too. It's too bad because he was just.
I feel like the Browns shouldn't look at this as him being a bad coach. I mean, for him to make the playoffs with Joe Flacco should tell them how good of a coach he is.
Yeah. So I mean, are they going to roll Pickett? I mean, I don't know how good is Flacco. He wasn't very good last year. So
yeah,
he's another year older. He's 2 years older than he was when he was with them. I mean,
right. We'll just have to wait it out, I guess.
But that's great. Yeah, very interesting. And to me, that the Browns quarterback situation and the Steelers quarterback situation are very intriguing. I would think, as far as the Steelers go, like you said, by next Thursday, we would know if Rodgers is going to play or not. But
before we move on to plays of the week, I have one thing I want you to try to do. I want you to think of one NFL draft prospect this year, and I want you to make a hot take about them, whether that's defending them or saying they're not going to be very good. I'll start by saying I think Will Johnson out of Michigan, there's been talk about some other corners, but this guy, if he falls out of the top 10, he is the steal of the draft. This guy is definitely, in my opinion, and I don't think it's very close, the best corner in the draft.
I agree with you.
There's been talk about
He's big, and
Jahdae Barron from Texas. He's the one that's moved up and expected to go in the top 10. But you know how these draft prospects work. Random people move up, and I'd be shocked if teams overlook Will Johnson because this guy can play.
Yeah, he's great.
Go and look at the tapes. He has willingly faced some of the best receivers in college football. For example, I'd say he locked up Marvin Harrison Jr.
He did. He was very good. The injury maybe scares people out of the top 10, but I don't know. But if I'm drafting the corner, as long as he's healthy, he's my pick.
Right.
I got one for you. Same position. You're going to think I'm nuts. You're going to think I'm absolutely, positively nuts.
Oh, boy, let's hear it.
Travis Hunter. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust or anything, but I just don't think he's going to be the NFL corner that everybody thinks he's going to be.
I don't think you're nuts for saying that.
I think he's going to be an average corner. I think he'll start, but I think he's going to be average. He's small. I think he's going to get pushed around a little bit.
Yeah.
I think he's caught up in trying to be a receiver, and I just have a feeling that he's not going to be all that.
I completely agree with that take, actually. Some viewers might think you're nuts, but I don't. I agree with that. Let's move on now to our plays of the week. Coming from Knicks and Celtics in the Garden. Knicks are up 107-104 on Boston. 11 seconds left in regulation. The man of the hour, Jason Tatum with the ball, makes his move. Anunoby steps back, 3-ball, tie game, you bet, overtime.
That was so nonchalant by Tatum, but he faked out Anunoby so bad.
That's a really good defender in Anunoby as well.
Yes, he is really good.
Well, coming from Houston and Florida, Uzan with the ball, gives it up. Pryor, Javier Francis catches a body on Thomas Howe. What a dunk.
What a play from Francis.
Ferocious dunk right there on the walled up Howe. Well, coming from Florida and Houston again, it's the ending, and Dad, it's called March Madness for a reason. Pryor with the ball. Florida up by 2. Uzan with it. Driving, can't find anyone. Gets it to Cryer. Up to the top sharp. Dribbles it. He can't touch the ball. Dives on the ground. And that is how the national championship ends.
So devastating. You wanted to see that final shot.
And the look on Kelvin Sampson's face says it all.
It looked like it was going to be wide open, but then
Ah, man,
Clayton Jr.
just to
flying.
think if a sidestep pump fake
he's
wide open, and that's a good look. But man, well, the moment it sinks in, Rory McIlroy has received his green jacket, and the reaction says it all. Emotion. This guy has finally got his green jacket and has won every single tournament.
Unbelievable. He finally does it after all the controversy.
He can finally take that deep breath and put on the green jacket and call himself a Masters tournament champion. Well, Dad, that is the end of today's podcast, but let's go with who is your biggest or top performer and biggest disappointment this week?
Well, my top performer is Rory McIlroy. Has to be the Masters champion.
Right.
No doubt about that. And my biggest disappointment of the week is Carlos Rodon of the New York Yankees. He continues to stink it up. He's supposed to be our number 1 starter this year, and he's far from it. And that's all I got to say at the moment.
Well, my biggest performance is the Florida Gators defense. They held strong on the very last possession of the national championship, which they were only holding a 2-point lead, and they forced Sharp to dribble, and they didn't even let a shot go up. So props to them, and that was an incredible season for the Gators. And my biggest disappointment, man, that's a tough one. Let me go with Bryson DeChambeau. That was supposed to be him versus McIlroy, neck and neck the rest of the way, and he just lost it, and that allowed Justin Rose to climb in there and play the playoff.
Yeah, he was all blustered, but no game on Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, before we end, some heartbreaking news came out Sunday morning. Tough news to wake up to. Kyron Lacey, ex-LSU wide receiver, rising NFL draft prospect, tragically took his own life. I think it was Saturday night at 24 years old. And before I say anything, just prayers to whoever's close to him during this very tough time. And to the people who don't think mental health exists in sports, yeah, this is just a very prime example of it. And not just sports, but a real life mental health battle. There's some guys who have been through mental health struggles, and it's a real problem. It's very serious. So, to anyone watching, if you ever feel the need, if you're ever going through a very hard time, you need someone to talk to, Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 988, those 3 numbers, and they'll hook you up with a hotline and talk to them, and they'll help you through it. Very sad news, and rest in peace to Kyron Lacey. And this is PM Sport Talk. Once again, I'm Preston, alongside my father, Mike. And we'll see you guys on the next one.